Oh, am I a hypocrite? Am I a hypocrite? Oh. Wait, what's up with the audio?
50-month on a stack, lad. Thank you for the content and amazing streams. Much love, xqcl. Big wow with the chat. Love you too. Less than 3.
Also, chat, listen. There's a world out there. Okay, I'm not kidding about this. I'm not, you guys. By the way, guys, before I even watch this, on the topic of hypocrisy, a lot of people online seem to think, right, that things are solidified and rigid. If you see the world that way, you're gonna run into a lot of problems. Growing up and growing as a person, things when you are somebody who's in a dumb fuck, yeah, a lot of times what happens is that you grow, improve, find new data, find new information. You go out of ignorance and make new conclusions. You change perspective. Sometimes you have a take, and a week later, you know what? You have a new take. Because there's something you didn't know, you change your take. The other day, you know what happened? I had a take, you know what? I changed it. Am I a hypocrite? Absolutely not. I'm not a hypocrite. I changed my take. I genuinely did it. Something I didn't know, I got caught up with it. I look at it and say, my take was bad, and I changed my take. I changed it. I don't think it makes me a hypocrite.
I want you to take a second.
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. No more granny shifting. We're gonna talk about a controversial topic: Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite, and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together. And one of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly. So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised on this broadcast here. Reason being is because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids, on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite, because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people were trying to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience, and just having porn, real porn being played, versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong.
You know what?
Clearly,
you know what, Jeff? Yeah, today I actually disagree with both of his takes. That ass. What? Oh, you go back? Really? Hold up. I didn't even hear them. I heard of his takes. Okay, I'll watch it then.
zone, no more granny shifting. we're going to talk about a controversial topic, Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together. And one of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly. So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole
Oh my god.
algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came
Wait, they say adult content. Yo! Wait, brother. I knew there was. And I know there was way more adult content. But I didn't know they just flat out say it just meant for that. Well, now I know even more. Bro. Now I can just triple down on my take then. No, not double down on my new take.
Came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised on this broadcast here. Reason being is because prior, I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids, on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segments, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite, because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people were trying to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of—
Whoa, this is very important. This is very important at this point. Whoa. Now we're getting to the chat. Now we're getting to semantics, and we're getting to like equivalent value of things. So this is very,
because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people were trying to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience and just having porn, real porn being played, versus an advertisement which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong. I clearly failed the CAPTCHA here and was labeled a bot, because a lot of people do view these in the same category, in the same wheelhouse. A YouTuber named MewKitty made a whole video on it talking about Twitch streamers and their hypocrisy, a video that I make an appearance in towards the end, and it's exactly what I just talked about, where I said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up Pornhub, but I laughed when Fansly was a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. And not long after her video, Scott Schaefer made content covering the same topic, where, once again, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 superstar Charles White comes into the frame once again with another banger cameo. And the argument is the same. Charlie called it out when Aiden Ross pulled up real porn, but didn't call it out when QT Cinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream I talked about this last night, and I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away.
Alright, chat. I'm gonna be that guy and ruin the entire content. Why? Why is promoting gambling so shamed when people promote pornography?
During that stream, and in the exact same video MewKitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from reading her comments, not like her personal comments, but like the audience comments, that the majority of the people didn't even watch the full statement. Which isn't her fault, and I even don't blame the audience, because right now, the human race is being plagued by brain rot, parasite, short-form content, which has ruined the attention span of people. So I don't necessarily find it shocking that they didn't watch all 10 minutes of what I was saying. But in—
Not the same world of problems. The fabric of society itself is falling apart because of this type of content. The fabric itself of society. I hope you know that. I hope you understand that.
In that clip, I outright say both can be bad. but they are not the same to me. Thus, I disagree that it's hypocritical that I made statements about Aiden Ross and
the way people see each other, treat each other, meet each other, date, have sex, all these things. Pornography is disintegrating that, and society is in a different playing field, and it is constantly eroding and being different because of these things. Bro, guys, I know that it's like that. I'm not even being hypocritical or being weird. I'm telling you, you have to be on the side that it's all bad or it's all fine. Picking and choosing like a bitch ass doesn't help anybody. Okay? I think it's complete dog shit. I think social media is all dog shit. And I partake in every fucking inch of every one of these things. And I consume porn like some fucking dude eating glizzies. I don't give no fuck. Not my responsibility. Not my responsibility, sorry.
Porn thing being really weird, and I didn't make the exact same statements for QT Cinderella's Fansly sponsor. I'll go ahead and prove that it's there right now, real quick, before getting into why I think they're so different, but ultimately both are not a great thing to be advertising to an audience that is undoubtedly going to have children watching. Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans, or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah. Now let's make like an egg and hard boil this subject real quick. So, the difference between Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub and QT Cinderella bringing up a Fansly sponsor is very clear right off rip. If all of you in the classroom right now have your thinking caps on, you'll notice a huge difference. I was able to play the entire Fansly ad as it aired because they are all clothed. You are not getting immediate nudity or pornographic content. It is an advertisement for pornographic content going to the website, yes, but unlike Aiden Ross's moment with real Pornhub just being there, actual fucking full-blown porn, you got pussy, tits, everything all right there immediately, that is not what you got with the QT Cinderella Fansly sponsorship. Thus, immediately, those two are already different. Showing the porn to an unsuspecting audience out of fucking nowhere is a lot worse than advertising a service that has porn on it. And that's something Scott Schaefer does.
Chat, he does have a point. Guys, listen. I'm not saying it's entirely correct, okay? I think there's a decent point to be made, okay? That direct and forced impact is different, right? Than the promotion by proxy to something elsewhere with certain barriers to get there. There's nuance there. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I'm saying there's to consider severe degrees of nuance.
Does touch on in his video. His is more of a deeper look at the subject, and MewKitty's is more memeing with it. I always thought her content was supposed to be silly and over-the-top trolling, but she does seem genuinely upset at me, and I imagine it's because of my statements, and I also did say I'm not the biggest fan of the way she edits her content. I called it Zoomer editing, which sounds mean-spirited when I really didn't mean it to be. She edits her videos like very chaotic on purpose, where it's a lot of sound effects, you know, like a fucking gong being hit pretty often, or like really loud blasting music pretty often, and that's just never been my cup of tea. But I never meant it as an insult on her honor. It's just not something that I'm
he's right. He's
a huge fan of. The same way that she...
Guys, it's not an insult. It's just the way it's edited. It's like, this guy did that right there, and look at his beard. Look at it. Now then we're going to the next thing. Did you know that Charlie... Boom! Like, oh my god, relax. Yo!
Doesn't like
Shout is
my
though.
content. I didn't mean it to be mean, and I apologize that it may have come across that way.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
But the whole point of me mentioning this right now is I do want to say that Scott Schaefer did also talk about the difference between playing porn versus advertising the Fansly. He did touch on that. Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category, where it is bikinis.
This is where... I love Charlie, but this is where he falls flat on his... This is where he falls flat on his face, in my opinion. Because if he understands the nuance between Aiden and QT, then he understands the nuance between Twitch and Fansly. Except he spins up here and he goes backwards and says that, oh, it's kind of the same thing. No, it's not. If you acknowledge the existence of nuance, you understand the nuance here. You do. You do.
The Fansly, he did touch on that. Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category, where it is bikinis and very, very revealing clothing. And that is a category that Twitch itself advertises. If you go to Twitch when you're not logged in, a lot of the recommended channels are hot tub streams, so Twitch itself does peddle content that is clearly sexually charged.
I'm going to fire back right back at him. His argument that he pushed earlier. You were able you were able to watch the content that Cutie put out, right? On Twitch with the 2S, but you would not be able to watch the content that Aiden put out. So his argument applies here again. On Twitch, the content in the hot tub category is okay for 2S on this category. If you were to put the content on from Fansly and that they push and you put it on Twitch, then it would not be 2S friendly. Guys, his arguments apply. His best argument is also the best argument against himself in both ways.
My point with this statement was to draw the immediate comparison that this Fansly advertisement wasn't immediately exposing young viewers to sexually explicit material, and it's even more easily accessible for them on Twitch already by just going to the category right next to the fucking Just Chatting one. That was the whole point of that. That's something XQC didn't quite understand, calling me wrong, saying that there's not a bleached butthole right away or something on hot tubs category, thus checkmate. It's me with the scholars, mate.
It is a checkmate though. Ah, he went there. He went there. Alright, I'm moving forward now.
That wasn't my point. My point was the ad itself didn't contain any explicit imagery or anything highly sexual, at least nothing that was worse than what is already currently being advertised on Twitch in that category. And when you go to Fansly, there is still not immediately ass and titties in your face right away. Thus, I didn't think by scanning the QR code people would immediately just be fucking blasted with porn all over the place like Charles Xavier jacking into Cerebro. So I viewed the advertisement very differently than a lot of people because even when you scan the QR code, you still don't immediately get porn. There's already a lot of degrees of separation and a lot of obstacles to go through, as opposed...
Yeah, but it's a call to action to do it. I think there's also a degree of difference. There's a call to action to do it. And now that we're on that topic, there is a call to action to use the QR code. That is called a push or a pull, okay? Which is very important though, okay? When people talk about them legally, here's a good parallel to how to explain my point though. Legally, right? If I say, fuck these people, bro, I'm actually choking my throat's still swollen. Okay. Here's a good parallel, okay? Morally, but also legally. When you have an audience of people, right? There is a severe difference between saying, oh, I'm doing this, and oh, today we're doing that. And oh, guys, we are this, we're that. And saying, yo, chat, go do this. And here's a way that it displays in some legal systems. Right? You can't go around and make call to action for violence. That's a crime, right? You're allowed to talk about like violence and speak in certain ways and do certain behaviors, right? It's not a crime. You can't say, yo, go fuck this guy up. You can't do that. That is a call to action to violence. The same way that sponsors, when you sign deals as a streamer or as an influencer, they'll always say, okay, today you're doing a call to action. They'll always, most of the time, they'll say, at least twice, make a call to action, which means make the people go click on something or go buy a product, right? That's what it's a call to action. I think in this scenario, right, what we're talking about is that even though there are barriers, and I get that, there's still a call to action when interact with adult products, right? right? That's it. And now they're on this topic again. Fuck y'all motherfuckers. Because throughout all the Gamba shit, right? There has been zero call to action. And on the opposite, there's been call to actions of the opposite. Fuck you. You absolute zero head, zero responsibility, offload blame Andy of the modern times. Fuck you.
Opposed to Aiden Ross, which just pulled up porn as a jump scare during fucking stream, right? It to me still is very different. I also was under the assumption that Fansly was only accessible to 18 plus after you verified your age. I don't use the platform. I thought you had to verify you were 18 plus in order to even get to the pornographic content. Thus, I thought it was even harder for children to have got porn out of that advertisement if they weren't of age. Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it.
Okay, so here's another little bit of a kryptonite argument. Unless, okay, it's very important, in my opinion, that Cutie had the 18 plus tag on the stream that they were streaming it, right? And if they didn't, that's a fucking problem. That is a, did they have or not the 18 tag when going to Cutie's stream on that day? Then that is a massive fucking problem. Because you want to talk about barriers, right? I will not be a hypocrite. I was gonna call myself out, okay? Because if I'm the one who advocates and says, yo guys, there's a barrier against this on this side or whatever, right? If there is a possible barrier that they can add on the platform and they didn't add it for things that do have a barrier, that is such a problem. That is a problem. Yep. I take accountability. I'm sorry about that. When we did Fansly, when Juice was sponsored, and I knew that after episode 1, right? It was not 18 plus. Maybe it was actually. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I genuinely did not know at the time, and I should have done my research. I should have done my research at the time, and I didn't. I genuinely, and I tried to prove that in other times, that I genuinely didn't know. And if there was damage caused, well, I'm sorry about that, but that is not. That was never up to question. Well, I admit I'm wrong because I didn't know. I you said already that was ignorant about that because my interaction with the product.
Sniffer.
It's a self-report. I don't give a fucking self-report. Taking accountability for shit like that's fine. Of course I'm gonna take accountability. I was ignorant as fuck. I had no idea. It's like you're dumb. The interaction with the product that we had
right now
over there is that we had to post normal content between like conversations of us, and it was paywalled content. I thought they were like, I couldn't understand it. Why was there a massive competitor to OnlyFans when OnlyFans exists? Why? Why if OnlyFans are dominating it? I thought it was like a Patreon about people. And yes, there will be, of course, some people that have nudity. I know it was meant for nudity. I know it was meant for nudity. Like, what are you talking about?
I thought there was a lot of steps to it, making it very difficult for them.
I did not get paid millions. I got paid $0. I've never seen a contract, an exchange of device of any sort of monetary value. I have never gotten a singular dollar from any of the sponsors. I don't know what you guys are on about. $0. Guys, if I had received money from them, I would be committing a FTC violation live on air, and I would be subject to a crime. I didn't get a singular dollar from these sponsors. 0. And never will.
But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is extremely easily accessible.
Ooh, sorry about that.
For anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So, I made the comparison that the Fansly advertisement reminded me of all of the strip club billboards that are spaced around all of the major interstates. Anytime I go up north to Pennsylvania, there is hundreds of strip clubs being advertised, and on those advertisements, there are women in bikinis and very, very revealing lingerie.
So I
and
was
they
like,
tell you
mama,
exactly where to go for.
Look, chat, I bought my mom some shoes. I love her. She's very happy, she says. Yeah, I bought them. I sent it to the mail. My mom, she's a big gardener. She's always liked gardening. She has a lot of flowers at home. She has flowers everywhere. And when I saw them, I got them automatically. Because look, it has like little flowers on it. Little flowers, little branches, stuff like that. Little leaves. And these ones, she said she wanted the ones that are more light. So these ones that are like gray and white. Look. Yeah, it's kind of chill. She already had fuck, chat. It's not Celine, but it's like a name of a brand, but it's just like a girl's name. It's not fuck. Chat, give me a woman's names brand, not Chanel. It's something else. Chloe. I bought my mom these ones. These ones, and they're see-through. Like, you know, like kind of, like kind of see-through or whatever, which is kind of cool. It gives it like some depth. That kind of cool. Whatever.
For the strip club. Well, when you're drunk,
I gotta replay this part. Whatever.
jump scare during fucking stream, right? It to me still is very different. I also was under the assumption that Fansly was only accessible to 18 plus after you verified your age. I don't use the platform. I thought you had to verify you were 18 plus in order to even get to the pornographic content. Thus, I thought it was even harder for children to have got porn out of that advertisement if they weren't of age. Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it. I thought there was a lot of steps to it, making it very difficult for them. But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is
Guys, like I said, I think the kryptonite to this argument is the fact that there is a barrier on Twitch that's 18 plus and was not utilized. I think that's a problem. I'm not throwing kids under the bus. I don't want people to throw hate their way, right? Because I'm sure they're gonna have takes about this and they're gonna have explanations, whatever. Again, not throwing anybody under the bus, but I think there's still a level of accountability that if there is a barrier to put in and you're not using it, well, I mean,
extremely easily accessible for anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So, I made the comparison that the Fansly advertisement reminded me of all of the strip club billboards that are spaced around all of the major interstates. Anytime I go up north to Pennsylvania, there is hundreds of strip clubs being advertised, and on those advertisements, there are women in bikinis and very, very revealing lingerie. And they tell you exactly where to go for the strip club.
people of the internet that live on the internet and will not agree with this take. This is a true take that I said about national television and ads for casinos and whatever, right? People won't hear it. People are getting mad about this, even though that is the society we live in. Sorry.
Well, when you're driving through, there's a good chance a lot of those cars are going to have kids in it and see those advertisements. So I compared Fansly to a strip club billboard because, in principle, if Fansly worked the way I thought it did, where you had to be 18 years or older to enter, it's kind of like a strip club advertisement because a kid could...
Alcohol ads are the same problem. You know what's great about this video chat? That these takes, I predicted them years ago with the Gamba shit because I got to understand how that works. And I can't be a hypocrite about some of this shit. I can double down, triple down. I was right all along and still am. Because now that we're talking about this, well, what about alcohol? What about cigarettes? Yep. And casinos? Damn straight. What about pornography? Absolutely. Boom.
Could see that, but still couldn't access the content because the strip club would obviously turn them away. Ideally, assuming you're not going to some kind of fucking shady, corrupt strip club. And I thought Fansly was the same way. But apparently that's not the case, so that comparison doesn't work anymore. And I reckon...
Yep, sports gambling ads shown on TV. But dude, these guys at the end of the ad, they say addiction. Woo! So clearly, I mean, they put a safeguard, guys. They put a safeguard because they said at the end, they said
recognize that now. And I also made the comparison to the old GoDaddy commercials, which were highly sexualized content that was broadcast during like Super Bowl, during sporting events, where it was things like a girl with huge honkers, her straps like breaking off, and like she's in a courtroom and like judges going hubba hubba hubba, and then like she's trying to say something and the other strap's like wiggling, and then it's like right when it breaks off and about to reveal the giant milkers, it says go to GoDaddy.com to finish it. And I wasn't really making a big point out of that. I just wanted to point out that, man, it really does feel like the early 2000s again with a lot of the internet arguments we get into these days. It's shit we've had for years. History really does kind of repeat itself. Because I do still think that's a pretty fair comparison. That's fundamentally like the same thing. The argument back then was, think of the children. They were watching this sport, and then all of a sudden, sexual content advertisement. So that's all I was really saying with that one. But yeah, in closing, I feel like there is no...
You say this doesn't count because of the intended audience. I think the point makes a lot of sense. Join the NFL, and the target audience is people that watch sports. Bro, children, bro. They're very careful usually about their sponsors and shit like that, right? Bro, all the kids watch, they watch football. People that play football, they watch football. They watch baseball, right? If you're a kid, you're gonna watch the NFL, you're gonna watch the Super Bowl. You will, right? And the intended audience is included. It's also for children. It is meant for them, literally. There are ads, they're dangerous for children. Well, I mean, it'd be cool if they, you know, you lost 40 viewers since you've been pausing. I don't give a fuck about viewers. Dude, listen. Imagine if I would just did takes and just did things for viewers. I'd be hollow inside, brother.
No real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub weird and didn't immediately start calling out how weird it was for Fansly to be a sponsor.
Well, I'm inside with this because of girls. Otherwise,
I feel like the two aren't really comparable. Blasting porn, real porn, immediately to your audience out of nowhere, no warning, and right in their face, just on stream, is completely different than an advertisement to a platform which does have porn, but a lot of things that they'd have to do in order to access it. Granted, I've now learned that it's easier than I thought it was. I still think the two are drastically different. So I still just don't think it's hypocritical. As I've said, neither one of them is great. I don't think either one of them is an amazing thing to do. But
also, I think people that comment on YouTube have severe amount of black moon inside of their brains. For people that post YouTube comments, they cannot think or rub themselves together. And that's just how it is. And I think the things that happen with these people is that, in this instance...
Neither one of them is great. I don't think either one of them is an amazing thing to do, but they are just not the same, and it's really fucking silly to pretend that they are. They are very different. And, that's about it, really. Just wanted to talk about it.
Okay, I'll comment this corner, because I genuinely don't agree with them. I don't agree with them at all.
I want you to take...
No, not you again. I said you already. I said no already. Did I want to on screen? I'm losing my shit.
Charlie never mentioned parent responsibility to monitor their kids' internet usage. Do you still think parents are responsible? Just curious.
It's kind of a cop-out answer. Parents are always responsible for everything that happens with their children. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's why I think bring back good parenting. Why? Because a child isn't...
Here is your restarted XQC take of the day. Yo, chat, I am not hip.
A child, okay, cannot make decisions for themselves. They actually cannot. Okay, legally and morally, children are not equipped with enough information about the world, enough mental stability and mental development to make choices. They just can't. Literally, I mean, to some degree, right? So what they have, we call legally, a parent guardian, right? And they oversee their decisions and their actions. That's kind of how it goes, right? So when your child goes online and does dumb shit on devices you bought them, with internet you pay for, in the house you pay for, with your supervision, and they go wild, sorry man, you should probably take accountability. You are a shit parent. Make better restrictions, use better apps and better safeguards, otherwise you are shit. Or next time, buy a condom. Or put the bitch on some fucking anti-pregnancy fucking bullshit, you absolute fucking cuck. What's on with you? Sup?
Hey, what's the sit rep? Lay it on me.
Oh, no, I wasn't in a video. I did some stuff. There's some stuff that I gathered. Yo, I'm gonna make it faster than last time. Listen, because this time the points are much sharper and much.
I want you.
Oh, this fucking egg always goes on my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. This is the point out. Also, yeah, I'm a visual person, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very visual. So when I said checkmate, also 6 moves, good one by the way. It's like I saw two things. One that's like moving around, and one that locks it in place. So I thought it's a 1-2, and it's over. Kind of checkmate. But I couldn't explain properly. Listen, the way I see it, this isn't drama. You want to realize that differences between adults in opinions is not drama. It's drama because your dad is a cucklord and is okay. I'm not gonna get there. Anyway, your point is in your video, right? In your video,
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there's so much. People don't understand how much there's unpacked in this. There's a lot of components in this. There's a lot of components.
Okay. Yeah. Very nuanced. Very nuanced.
A lot of topics like things like safeguards, things like and the reason why I'm more involved with this video than last time is out of the Gamba shit, I became like a five head. I don't understand it. Chad doesn't get it. I think the internet isn't ready for the truth sometimes. I get a lot of these concepts. Now here's some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the two mistakes, or the thing that I think there was a mistake about. One is about safeguards, and the other one was about nuance in. What was it again? It was nuance in. I'm printing my answer in my head.
Yep. All good.
It's printing. Hold up.
I'll wait on the fax machine. No worries.
Yeah. Come on, Jay, help me out. Because I said it and I forgot what I was wondering about. And I don't want to do the entire video again to just make a point, or at least start. Yeah. Nuance in nudity and content.
Right.
Okay. So here's So I'll go to the main point. I'll remove this. So then, you bring up in the vid at one point that like people are naked. No, you say at one point, you say that you understand that Aiden, right? So Aiden,
mm-hmm.
he showed porn or something like that, right? Or
yeah, he went on Pornhub. Well, I mean the clips are all there. I mean, yeah, it happened.
I said this a little bit that I didn't actually watch. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
But I get the point though. Right?
Yeah.
And then, right? And then in the other instance, oh man, I'm trying not to get lost here. Okay, because I think there's three parts. Fuck. All
right, here. I'll throw you a little lure here, so
sure.
we can start on a topic.
I
think it's actually very simple. So the video from you, Kitty, highlights me in particular at the end as hypocrisy, because I had made a statement saying it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up full-blown porn on stream, and I called it weird, which I still think it was. It is weird.
What?
And it is weird because you have to consider that there definitely were kids watching. Now, I know the point that you, as well as a lot of the pseudo-intellectuals in the comments made, is that, well, at least there was an 18-plus warning on there.
Yeah.
And fair enough. Not that that's a great safeguard, which I think is what you wanted to touch on,
Later
but that
on.
is there. Yeah, that was there where you click, yes, I'm 18. Well, actually, I don't know if you have to even click anything. I think you can still just go. But regardless, it was in, like, the title, I think. So, that's a point that a lot of people like to make. And then fast forward to the Fansly advertisement. There was no porn shown. Would you argue that anything was sexually explicit in the advertisement itself? Was there any nudity or anything that you wouldn't find on Instagram or on Twitch itself right now?
Yeah. So okay. I'm not getting that. I'm not going down that route because I think it's dumb, right? Me personally, with my core beliefs, I think yes, but for the sake of the argument and the sake of terms of service, no. So that my answer to that is no. The actual pictures shown and things, right, were not a problem.
Right. So, well, we can stop right there. So, we can recognize there's already a distinct difference between Aiden Ross showing full-blown porn, nudity and everything, versus the advertisement that was shown, which was all clothed. Now, it advertises to something that is full-blown porn. But this is where we get back to safeguards. I, as well as most people I imagine, are under the impression that Fansly is a service that can only be accessed once you log in and verify you're 18 years old. That's no different than Kick having an 18-plus check in the title or whatever. So, I feel like there's already extra degrees of separation on that front as well. I don't feel there's any merit to claiming that I'm hypocritical for calling Aiden Ross pulling up porn, which was on stream out of nowhere at random, just legitimate full nudity porn, versus a porn advertisement which had no sexual content in it whatsoever until you went to the site and then signed up. Now, I understand the site isn't very secure. From what I've read, you can sign up at any age. It doesn't really do good checks. That's information I didn't know at the time, but even still, that is a problem with Fansly itself that I was unaware of. But the point still stands. Me laughing when that pops up is not hypocritical because it was not nearly on the same playing field as the thing people are calling out that I've said before, which was pulling up literal Pornhub on stream in front of the audience is a very far cry away from clothed.
You know what? I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and defend you on this one. I mean, I don't think it's hypocritical either, because people think it's like a black and white, right? And I think laughing. I generally think that laughing at something being like dumb and like surreal and kind of stupid, right? I think people get the point. Well, it doesn't make you like an endorser / whatever, right? Because something extremely terrible, like let's say a call to action to violence, so you go, oh, that's terrible, right? But somebody, let's say, is saying, oh man, making a comment about something that isn't crazy, then you maybe say, this guy's kind of crazy, or this guy's kind of dumb, right? And I think laughing or saying the same thing as I did, right, doesn't flip the switch into endorsing it. Or does that make sense or not? Do you get it?
I absolutely understand what you're saying. And that's the only point I was making. MewKitty highlights me as a hypocrite. She is still on Twitter saying I'm huffing copium by defending that there is a huge distinction between what was broadcast by Aiden and what was advertised by QT. So, this is what I said on stream, and I'll say it here as well, because I know she watches you a lot. If she truly feels these are exactly the same situation and it is hypocritical, then I would like her in her next video to play the unedited, uncensored version of Aiden Ross's Pornhub moment, and then play the QT Cinderella Fansly advertisement so we can see them side by side and see if they really are the exact same situation like she insinuates they are. I imagine that won't go super well. One of those clips is going to get her banned, and the other one is right now on YouTube and Twitch without problems. And I think you can guess which one that is.
No,
it is not the same.
No, I get that. So I think the hypocrisy is out the window. Just some of the argument patterns that I didn't agree with, which don't earn a big deal. Chelsea always backpedaling, but overall, that's why I said it. Basically, the issue that I had is at one point you say that something that I hear a lot, like Twitch, hot tubs like that, right? I think this shit should have been instead of being widened, this should have been really hard on the hot tub shit and bikini stuff. They should have been hard on it. But instead, they caved in to the demand, and they kind of widened it. As long as you're in a hot tub, you can be like half naked, right? Which is like, it's just pseudo nudity or nudity, right? It's kind of fucked up, right? And in the video, you say at one point, you say, oh yeah, but it's nothing that on Twitch, if you compare it, I mean, Twitch isn't better. Even if you're young, you can just click on a category like hot tub, and you're gonna see nudity, right? But then I kind of fire back at you, where you said, Mark, you did earlier, about you're able to look at the ad, right? Then you wouldn't get banned. If you look at porn, you're gonna get banned on Twitch, right? Well, if you flip it up, I mean, if you take the content if you take the content that's in Fansly and you would have put it on Twitch, well, you would get banned, right? That was the only point. If you take the content that's being pushed towards and call to action to consume, if you would have put that in a category, well, now you would get banned. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't see the relevance to the overall. The reason I brought up the hot tub streaming was just to point out once again that content that was shown by the Fansly advertisement is not content that is like actually worse than what Twitch is already advertising, which is hot tub streams. Like I said, if you go on Twitch right now and you're not logged in, you are recommended hot tub streamers in that recommended section 100% of the time. The point was, this content is already on Twitch and already super accessible. It's kind of weird to focus the outrage on that advertisement for the content of the advertisement when it's not worse than what's already here. Now, going to where it's advertising, that is a problem. But once again, that's a degree of separation where you would only, like I said, I didn't know this at the time, you would only think you could access that content at 18 plus through a verification check,
Yep.
which apparently Fansly doesn't really do. The whole point with the hot tub segment was just to highlight that this content wasn't like outrageously sexual, especially when compared to what's already on Twitch. It wasn't really trying to make a grander point about like the state of hot tub streaming on Twitch itself.
Yeah. I got that. I just thought that since you're knowledgeable about safeguards, or at least from certain barriers, that you would have tried to investigate the fact that if you do understand the importance and the use of safeguards and how they're it's the best we could do, right? Say like 18+ checks, that it would be kind of weird for a cutie stream to advertise and make a call to action to interact with a product that's 18+ without having the 18+ tag on her own stream she broadcasted that stream.
So you're saying for the overall stream having an 18+ due to the sponsor having explicit content?
Absolutely.
See, that's a totally fine argument to make, but that's not one that MewKitty was making against me. I'm only fighting back on the hypocritical stuff, because I think that's a load of horseradish. That's all I'm talking about. So everything I'm talking about is to defend that. I'm not here to defend the Fansly being on here. Like I said multiple times now, I think both are probably not the best decision to play porn on a stream or advertise porn to a stream, especially when it's not like beforehand, this is going to be an 18+ sponsor. That's totally fine. I agree. You could have absolutely had an 18+ somewhere in there. Absolutely. That wasn't the point of the video, though.
Yeah. See, people talk about Nuance, but I think when your site is advertised as an adult site, adult content, then you have to make a parallel with something as drastic as just saying fucking Pornhub. And at that point, right? At that point, if you advertise something like Fansly, then you'll be okay with your stream being not 18+ as a tag in the title or in the setting, and advertising straight up Pornhub, because Pornhub has a lot of videos of creators that are not naked. I know, but they are not naked. They're just doing some like roleplay, whatever, or ASMR, and there is a lot of nudity and nude and directly pornographic content, the same way that Fansly does, and that creates a one-to-one equivalency in product being delivered or other things to be consumed by the consumer. Right?
Yeah, but you've already overlooked a core component of that example. Pornhub is easily accessible without any kind of login or verification. Fansly, to my knowledge, you still do have to log in, albeit its system is complete dog shit and lets anyone in under 18. So there is still a difference in the actual service itself, but the product does stay the same, you're right. And again, that would be something you would absolutely need the 18+ check on, and would be something that, again, I would say is not a great decision.
Yeah, at that point it's very, very difficult, because then we're talking about the severity and efficacy of safeguards, right, overall, and I think that's a discussion that the internet isn't ready to have.
Well, I think it's a discussion everyone already knows. The safeguards, like, I mean, clicking I'm 18 on Kick, I mean, that's the easiest thing in the world. No one's going to see that and be like, fuck, I'm not 18. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. This is too intense for me. It's the safeguards aren't effective. However, when you go to a service that I assumed was a paid service for only 18+ subscribers, you would expect them to do their due diligence with like an ID check or something. I think OnlyFans does that, though I'm not positive because I don't use that either. I would think there'd be some kind of system in place, since it's paid porn, where they check that you're of age to be purchasing it. So that check, I imagine, would have been a little more thorough than the standard one of click yes, I'm 18. But apparently that's not the case, which I didn't know.
Okay, I feel like so safeguards are it's a massive topic, right? Because safeguards, it literally makes you have conclusions. I generally think, and it makes you understand, right? In my opinion, you either take them seriously or you don't. There's not much of a nuance there. Because regardless of how good they are, people will discredit them, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always ways around it, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll get any pushback on that, yeah.
Yeah, because see, a good thing of the Gambler era that I noticed, right, is that when you think about, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, crypto gambling sites, right? In terms of safeguards...
Ms. Capelli?
Yes, I'd like to be on a commercial.
Sorry, I So I had your GoDaddy ad open or some shit, or somebody linked it in chat earlier, and I clicked on it by accident. Oh my fucking god. Sorry, GoDaddy with the big titties. My bad. Okay.
Yeah. That'll get you. That'll go. That had you going awooga.
Yeah. So the good parallel is that if you think about internet safeguards and things you do online virtually, crypto GABA sites are the most inaccessible of almost all content out there because one, right? There's 18 plus whenever you log in, create an account, whatnot, and even that to interact with the product to be able to actually play with money, right? You have to have an account to deposit crypto from, right? And how do you get that? Well, you have to go to an exchange. You have to go to an exchange, right? And from that exchange, right, you have to make an account. From that account, you have to submit like your passport and shit. So like legal docs, like legitimate legal documents for them to verify your accounts. Then you have to so I don't know what I call it again, Jeff. I forgot. It's called KYC. So after you've done with KYC, you have to link your bank, right? Link your bank, transfer funds twice, and then go back to the website that's 18 plus, and then you can interact with the product. Is this something or an activity that targets or is prone to children? I think that's incredibly disingenuous of an argument to push. I think
I don't know who's pushing that argument because that was not in that video at all. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how we got to gambling. I was gonna let you cook on it if you wanted to, but yeah, I didn't say anything about gambling. For what it's worth, though, it's all good. But for what it's worth, there actually have been a couple of cases where kids have signed up for crypto gambling because they usually don't check the verification until it's time to cash out. So I remember there was a story I read not long ago where kids signed up. They had some money they won through crypto gambling. I don't remember what site. I don't think it was Stake, but it was one of those. And they had money in the account, but they couldn't cash it out because then they needed to verify their age. But Stake was more than willing to take the money before verifying. So I don't know what this has to do with the core topic, but I mean, yeah, that's this. Any safeguards are prone to being breached regardless, but some are better than others.
So the only reason why I made an argument is that to show that safeguards, in my opinion, have a wide array of them, and if people in general, the public doesn't agree with the argument of gamma safeguards, which are I think one of the strongest out there because of how hard it is to get there, right? Then they will never ever accept any online safeguards without supervision ever. Unless their parent has to put their thumb in a machine, right, and log them in, they will never agree to any safeguards on the internet. They just won't. And these people need to understand that their mentality is bricked. That's all. That's all. Do you agree with that or not?
I'm gonna be honest. I followed you all the way up until you left the safeguard component about putting like their thumb or like. Where's their thumb going and where like a biometric scanner?
The argument is that it's hard to argue when you make the argument about safeguards. People are gonna give you some pushback and say, "Oh, it's easy to do this, it's easy to do that." I generally think the people that say that safeguards are bad, right? Mm-hmm. They aren't really to understand that.
Well, I don't know who's saying safeguards are bad.
No. Safeguards don't work, right?
Oh, gotcha.
It doesn't matter the severity of the safeguard. They will never agree that safeguards online work or have any value unless there comes a time where parents have to come in with a thumbprint thing and they put their thumb in a machine that scans their age and then their child is able to play, right? If it's not that, they will never agree with any degrees of online safeguard. They'll just say that it's just you're talking to ghosts. Okay,
so then the grand point you're making to kind of relate it back is in terms of safeguards, and you're using gambling
as a strongest.
Okay, gotcha. As an example of strong safeguards. Okay.
So if people don't agree with the strongest safeguard, then they will never agree to any degrees of safeguard, right? Because it's like impossible at that point. It's literally impossible. It's like it's like whenever you're young. You ever go to the Blockbuster and there's like a drape and then you go and you peek through the fucking boobies area?
I didn't know Blockbuster had a boobies area. Holy shit, that was a well-kept secret from me. No, I can't say I've had that experience.
Oh shit, I mean, our local like Blockbuster spot, in Quebec we didn't have Blockbuster, we had in the store. we would go. I mean, we would go to the fucking a store, right? We get movies, and we would pick because they have like a door, but instead of a door that's physical, it's like drapes, right? Like a curtain. And we would go pick the curtain at the adult fucking movies, right? And it would look at like the thumbnails, right?
Oh, gotcha. So like, would it be like a shelf or something full of adult films?
No, it was a room with a door.
Oh, okay. So like a full. Okay, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's 18 plus past year, and it would go and pick it. That's just kind of how it goes. Anyway, see, that's like the type of a safeguard, you know, there is sometimes around these things, and I feel like the internet is kind of the same thing a little bit. They're like inefficient type of safeguard type shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a conversation to be had about the effectiveness of safeguards and how we can make them stronger. None of that was at all what I talked about. Again, it was all just about the hypocritical claims that I was tackling.
So this is okay. Well, I mean, no, it's okay because I just didn't agree about like your like I said about what I just told about what I told you. But I do agree though that I don't think it's hypocritical to react in various ways to various degrees of something, right? Like,
yeah, because I think all of us can agree that the severity is different between pulling up Pornhub on stream versus the advertisement, which didn't have the explicit content, though did advertise to it, which, again, I have said many times now, is still not great. But it is inarguably not as bad as the Aiden Ross situation. Thus, I don't think it's hypocritical to have not immediately made a huge stink about that and instead laughed at it and then called it uncomfortable. That seems about right.
You know,
and if she disagrees, then again, I welcome her to play the unedited, uncensored Aiden Ross Pornhub moment in her next video, and then play the QT Cinderella Fansley moment, and we'll see how it goes.
Damn
so
right.
we can see how similar they are.
You know what? I just came up with I like making parallels and I like making what we call analogies that apply one to one, right? That are valid to try to simplify a topic. You know what I just thought about? The topic of violence, right? Mm-hmm. If I show you a clip of UFC, right, which is people sign a waiver, they voluntarily go to fight, right? That's one thing, right? That's about as consensual as it gets to fighting, and then a video of some guy who does like an assault, like it would punch me in the fucking face in real life, right? Who comes by and just knocked him to the fire, bang, right? I think if I show you the clip of the UFC, right, you'll have a certain reaction, and if I show you a clip of a punch and assault, you have a very different reaction, right? And I think even though this is the topic of violence, it's still violent in both ends. The reaction to these things will be severely different from one end to the other. Even though it's extreme, the two ends are very extreme. I still think there's value to present the argument that there are degrees of reaction based on what is happening. And I think you laughing at Kid making a sponsor and you saying, "What the fuck? International show porn," doesn't show hypocrisy. I don't think that's hypocrisy. And I
appreciate that. Yeah,
no problem.
I'm hoping after this conversation she will also see it that way, because I don't see the other side of the coin. I get Fansly itself has problems where if you do sign up, like it doesn't actually verify you're 18. Like apparently you can just sign up with Twitch and it doesn't check if you're 18. It takes Twitch's word. That's a problem, and that's of course information I didn't have at the time. But even still, there is a very different degree of severity between pulling up Pornhub versus pulling up the Fansly advertisement. So even still, the whole thing was just tackling the hypocrisy statement.
Yeah. Chances I don't validate chances.
They're both bad. One's worse, which is why I talked about it first.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just chances I'm fooling, but the reality is that both my gotchas are like on semantics, even though I still think that there's value to the gotchas. Your argument is always back to your video title, which is good. It's good that you did that as a debater or a talker. You go back to the hypocrisy of it, right? That's the topic, right? And you are right. I don't believe you're hypocritical. It was more like getting sidetracked on small semantics rather than big topics. I agree with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like again, it is a legitimately nuanced topic that you can have a lot of branching conversations about for sure. But that wasn't the point of the video. It was to tackle just one topic in particular. But yeah, I totally see what you're talking about on other things for sure. I'll be honest, once you started bringing in like thumbprint retina scanner stuff, you kind of had me wondering what was being whipped up in the kitchen back there by the chef. But overall, I think I understand where you're trying to go with a lot of like the branching paths to the conversation.
You know why I said
There's
that?
nothing wrong with that.
You know why I said that? I said thumbprint because it is the last amount of barrier you can have, because it's called the 3-rule life. It's life on 3 rules. FA 1, 2, 3. Always remember this, Charlie. Something that you know, something that you have, something that you are. The reason why I brought up the argument of thumbprint is it is the last line of defense behind who we are as people in terms of security like that. It is something that you are. An adult. And the adult has its thumb and it'll press it. Otherwise, the children can get access easily to something that you know, a password, something that you have, a computer or a device, but they don't have access to something that you are, the parent's thumb. Boom. Thoughts?
There was a lot in there. Overall, I think I understand the bigger point that you were aiming at. And, you know, I like the passion behind it, and I do think I agree. I hope I understood you correctly.
That's right.
I hope there's just a lot in there that was going on. It got very almost Socrates for a moment with the what you are kind of stuff. But I think
you know, you don't get that? It's FA. It's FA. 3 is the maximum. 3. It's a video by Tom Scott. Factor authentication, right? Yep. Has a maximum of 3. It's a triangle. Something that you know. A password, right? A password, a name, a code word. Something that you have. Like an authenticator device. Something you plug into your computer. A physical object. But also something that you are. So, your thumbprint, your eyes, your DNA, your...
right.
See? And the third one is the strongest by far, right?
Yeah,
so that's how it
absolutely.
It is the 3FA.
3FA, baby.
That's right. That's right. Okay, I'm out, bro.
All right, man. Good conversation. Have a good stream.
That's right. You too, man. Chat, you get it? You get it, chat? You get it, chat? Guys, the thing is, okay, is that I didn't know. I respect the hustle. Charlie cared a lot about not looking like a hypocrite. Nobody wants to look like a hypocrite. He cared a lot about hypocrisy. So he kept reeling back towards not being a hypocrite. Because I wasn't going to devalidate his feeling about not being a hypocrite, because I don't think he is. Okay? Based on the fact that I don't agree on the semantics. I still don't agree with the semantics presented in the... But does that mean I'm going to go against it in a big debate about this shit? Not really. It's very opinionated. I don't think it's going to use it. I just thought that he would want to talk about semantics, but he didn't want to. Fair enough. I don't think he wanted to speak about the base of the semantics. Because I think bringing Twitch up to the same level as like only Fansly is bad, because Fansly doesn't allow Twitch doesn't allow nudity in the ways that Fansly does. That's all. Fair enough. It's partial nudity, which we agree it's bad or good, but I mean, I'm a big boobo guy, so I mean, I see titties, I go.
34 months of fart sniffer. 29 months Pagman.
I think many people look like hypocrites is an easy job. It's a little bit like misinformation. It's easy to cause damage and it's hard to undo it. I think the video made isn't that bad from her. It's okay.
Any pot friends in chat?
I don't think it makes people like hypocrites, you know? Like, I don't know. It's kind of odd. I still don't agree though. Guys, because she said that other people are hypocrites, right? Because they promote something that's consensual nudity and sexual work compared to non-consensual, when that is just that's not cool. I'm like, that's just not cool. If somebody wants to be fucking naked and post pictures of themselves, they're allowed to. They give it consent. If somebody has pictures of them taken and modified to make them naked with AI or shit, that's different. It's different.
You write like a homie with a chromie.
It's not the same thing.